Hey, this is Rebecca coming to you live on Thursday. Happy summer, everyone. Hopefully everybody's enjoying your summer. I know kids are out of school, and if you're like me and you're juggling among multiple things, summers are always fun, but they can also be a bit overwhelming. I actually am just returning from my vacation with my family and feeling refreshed and great, and so I'm excited to come to you today. So we have been on a business series that I have titled RC Business Series, and we have been going for about 6 weeks now on various topics super important to my heart, and I'm just sharing my practical principles and the things I've learned along the way as an entrepreneur in my own business. I never had anybody show me the path, so to speak. I had to kind of figure it out on my own, and I certainly had a lot of great mentors and people that I could bounce things off of, but never really had kind of a fundamental step-by-step on how to start or scale a business. So what I'm sharing with you are things that I've learned along the way, and if you've missed the last 6 weeks, you want to go to RebeccaContreras.com, go to resources page, and make sure you watch the business series. We've got a lot of great content out there, all very practical that you can use. So today, I want to focus on a topic near and dear to my heart called The Right People Matter. I will tell you, I have been hugely blessed and having the right people in my life to help me not only start my business, but scale and grow my business has been very instrumental about my journey, and it's 100% the reason that I am successful. It's not only recruiting the right people, but engaging the right people, training the right people, and deploying the right people to execute on the avant-garde mission. And it's I have 5 key factors I want to share with you that have been hugely instrumental to my success. Number 1, the faith and belief in God and in myself. We know there's a higher power sometimes, that things outside of our control blow up, and having that faith and that sort of divine ability to go to and ask for help and seek for help, and also really believing in myself and believing that I can actually scale and grow, and when everything hits the fan, believing that I can work through it. So faith is a big component of my entrepreneur journey, and many of you that know me know that. Number 2, my hard work, relentless stamina, support, the resolve, all the things that I've talked about in my book, Lost Girl. The right strategy, number 3, the right plan. I talked about number 4, the last week we were together, the solid financial plan and infrastructure. And lastly, the people. So today, I'm going to talk about the people. If you missed the prior weeks, I do address strategies 1 through 4 in the other weeks that I've covered, so you'll be able to glean some good knowledge from that. So Forbes has done research. I love Forbes. If you don't read and follow Forbes.com, make sure as a business owner or future business owner you do that. It's a great resource. They put a lot of good content out there. I was super blessed to be part of the Forbes features last October, where they featured our nonprofit and our Give Back initiative as a company called Girls of Legacy. And anyway, as I've gotten to know them and as I've been benefiting from their content, I've learned so much. So Forbes.com, so they list research-driven content that says that a lot of business owners and company owners do put a lot of value in, things like tech and money and tech. I mean by technology, platforms, money, products, services, all those things. But they list in their research the number 1 asset for any company is your people. It's your biggest investment in your asset in terms of the dollars that you spend. If people have people on payroll, it's usually your biggest line item, but more importantly, it's your biggest opportunity too. And so this has been my personal experience. My top 7 elements that I'm going to share and keys with you today have been driven by the fact that I have been successful because of my people. And one of the reasons that we've gone from 0 to multi-millions of dollars every year in just a 13-year period has been because of our people. We have great people. Number one, people represent you to customers. Number two, they manage customers. Therefore, they're going to bring in the business when customers are happy, and they're going to kill the business when customers are not happy. That's why I call it a make or break strategy with the right people. Number four, they bring in talent that I don't have. And they expand, number five, my area of talent where I lack knowledge. And so the expansion of that knowledge base is super important in your talent. Number six, they scale and help you grow. There is only one Rebecca. There's only one you. If you're a CEO and owner and you're doing everything, it's hard for you to scale and grow with a one-person approach. So they have the ability to help you scale and grow because they can be more places than you can be. And lastly, number seven, people are gold when they buy into your mission and your vision and your company. Employee loyalty and trust and commitment is something that you cannot buy with gold. And so it is better than gold. And so those are the 7 top reasons why people matter and are number one in Rebecca's mind, my mind, in Avant-Garde, and they should be as you scale and start your business. So today I want to focus on 3 aspects of the people business. I first want to caveat by saying I have dedicated my entire career to the people business. My background is in management and HR, and it's what I did when I was in government for 15 years, and it's what I've done the last 15 years of my consulting career, or 15 year plus now, almost over 20 year plus of consulting career. And so people are my business, and they're the most important business. And so there are 3 aspects of the people business that I want to talk about today. In the interest of time, since we only have 20 minutes, I want to share with you 3 aspects. Number 1, recruitment. Number 2, retention. And number 3, training and deployment. We'll start with recruitment first. I want to talk about how we recruit. So recruitment, you know, back in the day, if you're like me, old school, and you've been in your career 20, 30 years, you know, back in the day, if you recall, you used to put up a job posting on a website or on, you know, on a job board, and people would apply, and you would comb through 50, 100 applications, 20 applications, however many you get, and you would select an interview. Well, that type of recruitment is old school, and it is gone. It does not work for keeping, retaining, and getting good talent. Certainly it's a method, and you should do a job posting, but it shouldn't be your all-inclusive method. I find, and I have found in my now 30-year career of hiring. So for context, I used to do hiring for Governor Bush and President Bush. That was my role, was hiring thousands of people to work for him all across the country when he went to be president. And then obviously I handled his HR here in Texas. But the last 20 years, I have hired at least 400 to 500 consultants and team members to work across my consulting practice, both with the current company I have and the prior company that I helped start. And so I have a lot of experience in hiring, and I've seen a lot of things that have worked and not worked. And I will tell you that you know, it matters where you hire, and it matters how you hire, and it matters who you hire. So the how, the where, and the who are so important. And, you know, hiring what I call smart and employing a methodology or a process that is really deliberate around what you're trying to get in that candidate. I find as I coach small business owners, you know, especially what I call one person shop small business owners that are just starting and they're trying to scale. I find a lot of them just go off and, you know, they just want to hire and they don't have time to do the other stuff because it's too much. Well, a lot of times when you do that, you will pay for it in the end when you don't get the right talent, and you have to make a termination, or you hire the wrong person. And so take your time, do your homework. There's a lot of tools online. Use AI, use all the tools available to you to make sure you prepare for that hire. And so things like develop your assessment tool. How are you going to assess the candidate? You know, what are the skills? What are the competencies? What are the qualities? What are the values you want that employee to have? You know, things like, you know, I always like to ask questions that get to values like, hey, what keeps you up at night? You know, what are you passionate about in life? Certainly you want to start with your technical and your educational and all the things that you're looking to get. But, you know, work in a few of those, what I call soft assessment questions that get at values and get at passion. And, you know, ask questions. Certainly if you You want to stay away from questions around, you know, things like race and family and gender and all of that, but you want to get into, you can certainly ask things like, hey, you know, what do you do on your spare time? You know, how do you volunteer, and where do you volunteer? And, you know, what keeps you up at night? And I like, my favorite question is, you know, if you had to kind of wave a magic wand, you know, what would you change about your personal journey and your career? You know, what are some things that have been maybe, hiccups or get-ups for you that have that haven't worked, and how would you do it better? And all those kinds of questions are available to you. And there's lots of online tools that you can get for free. And I'll talk about those later to make sure you're developing the right assessment questions. You want to get to the candidate assessment. If you are assessing a person and they're coming in and they have a 30-minute interview and you're following them out, that is not a thorough interview. I also have various stages of the process for the interview. So in my company, because I'm a mature company now, we have about 130 people, and I have 3 recruiters that do my recruiting. You know, they have to go through a process. You know, take them through a process. It's not going to be that easy. Make them work for, you know, don't make it hard, because you'll lose talent in this market. But, you know, in my company, we have, you know, what I call a 3-scale process. They go through the recruiter first. If the recruiter likes them, then they interview through the PM. And if the project manager likes them and they want to make a recommended hire, then they make that proposal to HR. They don't have to have 3 interviews. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to put anybody through 3 interviews, because that would be a nightmare. But make sure they have at least two screenings. And maybe if you're a one-person shop, and I was 13 years ago, it was just me and my partner, and you don't have all those layers to go through, then, you know, maybe do an initial assessment and conversation over the phone or by Zoom, where you talk to them for a little bit to get to know them, and then you do a deeper level screen and dive later once you have time to work through those assessment questions. So recruitment, hire smart. Second is retention. Retention is so important. And listen, the only way you get to employee retention is by establishing those core fundamentals as a business of what is going to drive your business, and what type of environment, what type of culture, what type of process you're going to set to make sure people are assimilated and trained. They come into your company. You want to make sure that there's a really strong component to how you're bringing them in and retaining them. In this market, guys, it is brutal. I am finding the retention rate is really, really tough. People are stealing people left and right. If you're in Austin, where I am, we're also hiring in DC. We're hiring in Philadelphia. We're hiring in Texas. You know, all those markets are really, really tough markets. Atlanta, they're really tough markets to hire in. And so you are competing. So retention, once you hire somebody, you want to make sure you keep them, because if you lose them in 2 or 3 months because you lose them to someone else, so you want to think about what your retention strategies are. I want to share what mine are in terms of building our retention culture. So I have the top 3. There are about 15. Again, Forbes.com, they recently issued a really good article on the 15 top strategies for companies to focus on employee retention. And all of the 15 strategies that are there are available to you on Forbes.com. You just want to Google in the Forbes. You want to Google employee retention strategies, and it'll come up. I have at least 3 that I will share with you today in the interest of time. There are others on my list, but I want to share with you my top 3. Number 1, building a culture and creating an environment for employees to thrive. Short term, long term, you want them there long term. If it's a temp job, then they're going to be short term. You have them for 6 months. You want to make sure within that 6-month period, they have the best experience that they could possibly have. Because guess what? When the funding comes up again, or next year during your seasonal hire, you need someone again, you can call that employee back up and they'll be willing to come back. And you won't have to spend all that money recruiting. So retention is important, and you want to build a culture that will a management culture, an environment that will make them be engaged and happy. And there's lots of information on culture out there online. Forbes has great information. The Society for Human Resource Management has great information and research. So definitely do your research and use AI for your tools around culture. Number 2, allow employees to work from home. Hey guys, this is a big one for me. I am old school. I'm as old school as it gets. I do not like not seeing someone. I'm here in the office today, in my office in Austin, in the Austin area. There's nobody here because everybody's working from home, but I'm here, and my employees, the Texas-based employees, at least the local Austin-based employees, they know they have this office. I keep space for them. It's a small space with about 2 offices and a conference room and a kitchen where I allow them to come in. They come in once or twice a week. Maybe it's for a few hours, maybe it's for a day. And, you know, my methodology is, hey, listen, if you're tired of sitting in front of your screen at home, you know, the office is available to you. I come in once or twice a week, sometimes more, but let them work from home. If your work is such that it allows remote flexibility, that is the #1 strategy right now, especially post a COVID environment. I am finding employers that are forcing their employees to go back in the office are having a really hard time retaining their employees. Now, there are some employees that want to be in the office, and that's great, but give them the option. Say, you know, do you want to do 1 or 2 days a week in the office and maybe the rest at home? And then obviously put some rigor around that home schedule so that, you know, you can have some check-ins. I call them check-ins to make sure that, you know, things are going okay and they're online and all that. But you don't want to put a lot of, I'm finding in this market that flexibility to work from home is a big deal. Or telework, you know, if they want to work, you know, a 4-day work week. Maybe they want to work 10 hours, 4 days, and that flexibility is important. #3, ensure your salaries and benefits are comparable and competitive. And this is a really tough one. This situation with salaries and benefits is so hard, and I'm finding as I talk to business owners that are just getting started, it's hard to pay people. But listen, if you don't pay the piper now, you're gonna pay the piper later. It's gonna cost you money when you lose customers and lose talent, so sometimes you have to invest up front to make sure that you're paying your people well. Do your research. There's a tremendous amount of salary market data online. We do a salary market analysis every couple of years. My HR team does. We look at comparable salaries. You want to be looking at locations where you are geographically. Sometimes the DC salaries are going to be a bit higher than the Austin salaries. Sometimes the Round Rock salaries will be different than the Austin salaries. You want to be looking, if you're in Dallas, Houston, wherever you are, whatever part of the country, you want to be doing some comparable data. Do your research. Everything's online to you. And remember, we have ChatGPT and AI now too to help us. We have a really strong salary and benefit package at Avantgarde. Again, I started with basically 1 employee. We've now grown to 130 and growing. I think we have about 20 positions open right now that we have posted. So just understand it. You start a little bit at a time. It doesn't happen all at once, but make sure you're not underpaying your people and that you have a good salary and benefits in place. Okay, so those are my top 3 in terms of the 15 strategies that Forbes magazine lists as the most important. And those are all very, very useful. And again, there's a lot of research online and a lot of data available to you on how to structure your environment around those top 3. Again, if you're small, start with the 2 or 3 most important things to you, like I did, and then you can grow from there as you grow your company. Okay, so the third and last focus I want to talk about is training and deployment and delivering the mission. Investing in employees and affording them the opportunity to grow is so important to the growth of your business. Making sure that you're growing people. So our approach at Avantgarde, and my approach has been from day one, is to what I call grow within strategy. A grow within strategy means that as you grow, you are giving the people that come in early on the opportunity to grow with you. So I'll give you an example of how we've done that. We have many talented consultants and team members at AG. Many times we've had to redeploy them across multiple areas. When we have a position open, the first thing I ask when we have that position open is anybody in the practice capable of delivering this job, and would it be a promotion for them? So there's a group of 3 senior project managers that work directly for me, and they all have project managers under them. We look across their entire portfolio of 130 people. We say, okay, we have 2 jobs open. We need a consultant, for workforce planning, or we need an IT Java developer, or we need a operations staffing recruitment person. Is there anybody out there that we know that is doing good work that we can give them an opportunity to grow, and they raise their hand to say, I would like to move. And we do that first, even if it means we take them away from a client. And sometimes, trust me, I've had to get on Zoom with my clients in DC that him and ha about why did we take away, Jane Doe or John Doe. They were really, I've had them for 2 years. I really love them. And we've said, look, our number one value right now at AG is loving and caring for our people. And that employee expressed an interest in doing other things, and we didn't want to lose them. And we were at risk of losing them to the market. So we're going to take care of our employees. So definitely the what I call grow from within strategy is a really good one. We have 3, I want to give an example of 3 very young graduates that we hired. One of them about 5 years ago, the other one 4 years ago, and the other one almost 3 years ago. And they're all junior people right out of their master's degrees. They'd had about maybe a year or 2 experience in internships or, lower level work at workplaces right out of college. And, I just fell in love with them. They're all bright, they're all capable. And my senior project manager said, look, I've got these employees. I really want to grow and develop them. And, they're going to come in and they're going to come at the bottom junior level, but I'd like to put them on a scale. Every year we evaluate their performance, we evaluate their contributions, and we see how we can help them grow. And they've all grown within the company. One of them has grown from that junior analyst to a project lead, and she's now leading a project. Obviously, when they grow, they're going to grow in their capability, they're going to grow in their salary, they're going to grow in their position and their title. These are so important. I find, especially among the younger workers, the what I would say 25 to 35 to 38-year-olds, they really want opportunities to grow. And if your company is one that's not giving them that opportunity, you hire them here and they're staying there forever, you're probably going to lose them. I was in discussion with a client of mine. It's a federal agency who is bringing a lot of millennials in, or was bringing a lot of millennials in, and now Xers. And, they said, we have a 25%, turnover rate, and, they're not staying, they stay 2 years and then they go. And so my first question to them was, what's your training and development and grow from within strategy? And they looked at me like, ooh, I don't have one. And so you have to have one. So growth and training and development is so important, and that grow from within, especially as you're a small business. There's only one of you. Obviously, it's hard for you to grow someone, but as you grow and get more business, or maybe diversify their work, right? That's also a good strategy. So I've talked about the recruitment, I've talked about the retention, I've talked about the grow from within and the training and development. All those are key people strategies that you want to employ. So I want to wrap it up with what happens when you don't take these 3 areas of focus and say, these are going to be kind of a stake in the ground for my business. I'm going to do these things, even if it's only with my one hire, and as I grow and hire more people. Lastly, you will absolutely not be able to keep the right people. If we don't do a real thorough job around what I call assessments of the candidates as they come in, use your social media tools for recruiting. Don't just throw job posting up and at the Workforce Commission or, wherever you post your jobs. That's not a really good method for recruiting. You will get a lot of applications and a lot of talent, but they don't. Usually I find people that are applying for jobs online are either out of a job, they've been laid off, or there's something going on. And it doesn't mean we don't get good people from postings, because we do, but don't let that be your sole source of recruiting. Make sure you diversify. And I use ZipRecruiter, I use Indeed, I use Monster, I use LinkedIn, we use Indeed, we use all the social media platforms. I was having a discussion the other day with a small business owner, and I said, she was saying, I'm having a hard time keeping people, and this particular business owner is in the service industry. And I said, well, what's your method of recruiting? And she said, oh, I just put a posting up, and nobody's applying. And I'm like, well, are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Indeed? Are you on social media? She says, no, I don't like social media. I don't like it at all. And I looked at her and I said, you have to get on social media, and you have to use the social media platforms like Indeed. It's the number one. Indeed is the number one recruitment platform right now for employers. It's a very strong recruitment platform. And it's so important for you to understand the social media platforms and know them and learn them. There's a lot of classes, by the way, online free from Indeed on how to recruit on Indeed. So you want to absolutely leverage. The number 2 is this social media number 1. Number 2 is referrals. You want to leverage those referrals and use the people in your network that you've built to leverage the input that you're getting. So I want to leave you with a couple of action items. Make sure you go to Forbes.com on this particular topic, and honestly on other topics of your business. Look at their 15 top strategies for retaining and keeping employees. Look at their top strategies on how to recruit and retain. Leverage AI, leverage LinkedIn, leverage all the social media tools. If you don't have, your presence is not on LinkedIn and you own a business, you need to build a profile on LinkedIn. And make sure you have that profile built around you, because what happens is you interview someone, they're going to go and look you up on LinkedIn, or they're going to look you up on your website, or they're going to look you up on Facebook to learn more about you. So we've talked a lot about recruitment, retention, and training and development. We are out of time. If you enjoyed this particular series, make sure you share it out with those that are in your network. And if you missed the first 5 series, they're on my website at RebeccaContreras.com. Join me for the last week, week 7, the perfect number of 7. Next Thursday, same time, same place, here on my Facebook Live page at 12:30 Central. I will be wrapping this series up with a bow, talking about the importance of evaluation and pivot. Pivot is so important to growing and scaling your business. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you next week. Talk to you soon.